resource wellness community since 2011. I'm here today because I am very fortunate to be a cancer survivor who has lived to tell her story. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to look back at my cancer journey, to review everything that has happened 6 years ago, and to feel grateful to now be in such a different life situation. It was on May 4th, 2018, that I learned of my biopsy results. That was exactly a week after the incident, which led me to seek help of an OB oncologist. Let me take you back to how I found out that I had cancer. My dad had just passed away a week prior, and our whole family was having lunch at a restaurant in Makati. While I was waiting for my order, I decided to go to the bathroom to eat. Since I was just planning a short run, I didn't even bring my bag or even my cell phone with me. But as soon as I sat down in the toilet, I started to bleed. I flushed the toilet, I think about 6 times, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. It became more profuse, and after flushing the toilet about 6 times, I started to panic. I was alone, and I couldn't get out of the stall to call for help. I knew I was losing a fair amount of blood and needed to do something before I fainted. So I bought some tissue and tried to hold on the bleeding long enough to get to the bathroom, get out of the bathroom to call for help. But I only reached the door of the bathroom when there was already a puddle of blood on the floor. So I just had to come back in. I waited for somebody to come to the bathroom, but nobody did the whole time. I became so desperate that I took twice as much tissue, and I just had enough time to run outside, call my sister into the bathroom, and wait for her. As soon as she found out the situation, my sister had to go out and buy me an adult diaper. I don't know if it was denial or cluelessness or just not thinking straight because of the grief I was feeling over the death of my father. I didn't quite grasp the gravity of the situation. I thought that because the bleeding was now contained, I could just go back, have lunch, and go home. I figured that since it was the weekend, I would just go to my OB on Monday. It had to take my sister to insist for me to go to Makati right away. Sure enough, when I got to the hospital, that's when I started to look very pale, and I felt really weak. The OB on duty first assessed that I may just need a DNC, but when she examined me, her face turned pale. She told me that she had to refer me to an OB oncologist. That was the moment I realized that something was wrong. The OB oncologist turned out to be Dr. J. Famador, my future doctor. He explained that he would do a bone biopsy to examine the mass he had seen, and that the results would be out in a week. Deep down, I already knew that the result wasn't going to be anything good, and I was right. There's never a good time to get a cancer diagnosis. Though we know so many people who have had cancer and are currently in treatment for it, we never think it's going to happen to us. Mine came suddenly and without much warning. I was just fortunate that my bleeding was a sign that I couldn't ignore, and it led me to an early diagnosis. As I came to know more about cervical cancer, I found out that many times early signs are quite subtle and even non-existent. That's why many cases are discovered at a later stage. There are many emotions that accompany a cancer diagnosis. I felt the worry and anxiety over the disease and its many repercussions. Cancer takes over. Plans are sidetracked. Life as we know it ceases to be. Mine was doubly challenging because I had to navigate grief over my dad's passing and the grief of finding out that I had cancer at the same time. Everything happened so fast. Within a week of diagnosis, I was already in treatment. There was no time to process what I was going through. I did go through some stages of grief. There was an initial denial and a bit of anger. I didn't find myself bargaining though. I didn't question why me. Because why not me? I was surprised that accepting my cancer diagnosis came quicker than I thought it would. It must have been divine grace because I was unusually calm. What helped a lot was that I met good doctors. Dr. J from Madora was my attending OB oncologist, and he really went out of his way for me. As soon as he got my results, he brought me to meet Dr. Mike Malabano, a very good radio-oncologist. The two of them explained to me in detail what kind of cancer I had and all the treatment options. They explained and answered all our questions. At that time, I was with my sister and my best friend. Dr. Famador was a very good bearer of bad news. He didn't tell me at that time, but when he first examined me, he was worried that my cancer had spread to my lungs because I had a very bad cough. He gave me the first good news. My cancer didn't spread to my lungs. Secondly, it wasn't the aggressive kind. Another good news too was that I might not need surgery if the treatment protocol worked well, which thankfully was what happened. I had 28 days of radiation, 5 chemo sessions, 4 brachytherapies, and the whole protocol had to be done in a window of 8 weeks. Aside from my doctors, what really helped a lot was the support of family and friends. And as a volunteer of Carewell, my Carewell family gave me the support I needed to weather the storm. There's nothing like being able to talk to people who understand where you're coming from because they've been through it themselves. That's the value of belonging to a group that has your best interests at heart. Carewell was a great resource for me and a safe and happy place where I could be myself and be welcome as I am. There was also government help. PhilHealth, I was pleasantly surprised that it paid for a big chunk of my medical treatments. At that time, Makati Medical Center had a PhilHealth cervical package. Hopefully, PhilHealth continues to provide the needed assistance, especially now that they have increased the contribution rate every year. A number of Carewell members have been helped by PCSO, various government agencies, and government officials. But it hasn't been easy. Some must line up for the next round of chemomeds the next morning after their infusion. They line up as early as 4 in the morning, and sometimes don't even get the assistance because they have exceeded the cut-off number. Hopefully, there will be more government funding, not only for treatments, but preventative measures as well. Annual Pap smear campaign and free diagnostic tests. Government-sponsored vaccinations for preteens to early 20s has been proven to significantly lower rate of cervical cancer than unvaccinated women. There is great value in investing on preventive medicine because it will cost the government less than the required treatment when cancer is diagnosed. I've learned quite a few things having gone through my own cancer journey. Getting cancer is no longer a death sentence, nor is it the end of the world. Advances in youth. My sister had leukemia in the late 70s, when there was still very limited knowledge on treatments. If she had gotten sick today, I'm sure her chances of surviving would have been so much higher. For me, acceptance was key. Denial and flight response just prolongs the inevitable and adds unnecessary stress. So, the sooner you face the situation, the better equipped you will be to fight the good fight. You must eat. There will come a time when you won't be able to keep anything down and you'll feel like throwing up. So take advantage of those times when you have an appetite and you can eat. You also don't have to look like a cancer patient. When I was in treatment, I decided to wear a different dress for each of the 28 days of radiation. It was my way of marking time and making me feel as normal as possible. Find ways to make dealing with cancer a better experience. During my chemo sessions, my sister and I would have what we would call chemo picnics. And I asked different friends to accompany me on my radiation treatments, and I would look forward to having lunch with them after. Fatigue will always happen. Don't try to fight it, and remember that you're really not a superwoman all the time. You need to rest. Listen to your body. Every cancer patient is different, and the effects of the cancer and the treatment will vary from person to person. When I was in treatment, I met another cancer patient who had the same cancer and protocol as me. Though we both went through the same treatment, she experienced all the possible side effects to the point of wanting to quit. On the other hand, my side effects were quite mild, for which I am truly grateful. Despite the direness of the situation, there will always be something you can be grateful for. Find it and be thankful for all the little things. May it be the kindness of a nurse who assists you with a smile, or a thoughtful present from a friend. There was even a time when a friend of mine would give me ice cream vouchers for every radiation treatment that I had. I could have any ice cream that I chose from her list of ice creams. There were a lot of people praying for me, and even a home-cooked meal from my sister or the company of my best friend during my brachytherapy. So many moments really to be grateful for. Cancer really does have many gifts, and it comes in so many different forms and ways. The gift of people being sent to you when you need them the most. Cancer really does make you realize that you're stronger than you think. It makes you realize how many people love you, and it gives you a deeper appreciation of life. It makes you more empathetic, and it makes you witness God's loveliness. There's a reason for everything, and in hindsight, it is the best teacher. Learn from the experience and share your knowledge, and be there for others when the time comes. Pay it forward. Find the reason why you survived. It's your turn to help. A few people I know have gotten cancer after me, and they didn't take it. I owe it to them to live my best life. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to be here on behalf of so many who weren't lucky enough to share the story of survival. May we continue to do our part in helping educate, prevent, and eliminate cervical cancer in the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you for that inspiring and